why I am here, talking to you now, talking to the audience, talking to the people listening at home or at work or wherever you're listening. In 2013, a person named Earl Silverman hung himself, and the reason why was that he spent 20 years trying to keep his domestic violence shelter afloat. He had served men, and during that entire 20 years, he fought with the Alberta government. He was Canadian, lived in Alberta, to try to get funding for his domestic violence shelter. And eventually, his personal funds dried up, and it had to close. He lost his house, and he lost his ability to help the men that he was trying to help. And after that, he took his life. And when this happened, when I learned about this, I decided that I didn't want to have success in a system that would ignore people in need like that because they're inconvenient to their narrative. That would just turn away from people that aren't useful victims, essentially. And so, as a result of that, I started to do volunteer work in the men's rights community. And eventually, I found my way to starting up Honey Badger Radio with Hannah and Karen. In 2014, I watched a group of advocates, consumer rights advocates, be tarred as misogynistic terrorists by the same media that ignored Earl Silverman and the plight of all of the men he tried to save, metaphorically, all over the world. And I once again saw the system marginalizing a group of people, using this narrative, marginalizing and demonizing them because they were inconvenient, because they didn't want to have to deal with what they were saying. And I said to myself, I don't want to have success in a system that does that. I don't want to find success in a system that does that. I don't want to have to bow my head and look away as I watch other people get destroyed by this narrative, get targeted by this narrative, and crushed by it. And so I decided to put the Gamergate logo on a flag and fly that flag at the Calgary Expo. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had made my decision that it didn't matter what would happen. I wasn't willing to have success. I wouldn't accept success from a system that did that used the narrative as a weapon to silence and censor people they found inconvenient. And of course, as most of the people listening know, we got evicted from the Calgary Expo. We got escorted off the grounds. And apparently they also had police waiting should we prove to be the violent terrorists they apparently thought we were. Now, when the Mary Sue instigated this, and it's fairly clear that they did, they essentially aimed the narrative at us, at myself, at Honey Badger Brigade, at all the people talking now on this radio show. They aimed it at us and pulled back the trigger at point blank range. And I know the Mary Sue expected us to drop, expected us to fight each other, expected us to disappear, expected us to just not be able to continue. Because this is what they're used to. They point that fucking narrative at someone, they pull the trigger at point blank range, and they just disappear. Whatever's inconvenient disappears. They wanted to make an example of us. They wanted to take away any potential of us going on or becoming successful. But what we did is we got up and we kept moving forward and we actually got more successful. We actually started to climb that ladder of success. We actually started to move upwards, despite the fact that the Mary Sue had shot us at point blank range. And believe me, they are watching that. They are watching us move up that ladder of success. They are watching it. And it is a statement. It is a statement that despite what they did, they didn't stop us. And so I say this, I want to be a success. I want Honey Badger Brigade to be a success. I want Anna Cherry to be a success. I want Brian Martinez to be a success. I want Hannah Wallen to be a success. I want Mike to be a success. I want Karen to be a success. I want Rachel to be a success. I want everyone who was there with me, including everybody who was rooting for us, to be a success. Because it sticks it to the Mary Sue. It sticks it to them to know that they don't control what success is anymore. And more than it sticks it to them, it also shows everybody who's watching, and as we go up that ladder of success, more people see it. It shows that you don't have to choose between your morals. You don't have to choose between submitting to this narrative, looking away as other people are destroyed by it, and being successful. Mary Sue wanted to make an example of us. And I say, great, we will be an example of how you don't control success and you don't stop us, because that's winning. Okay. That's how we win. By creating success that doesn't require looking away, that doesn't require submitting to this narrative that they use to silence and censor people they find inconvenient. And when we all are successful, when we are all successful without having to turn away from those moral principles of letting people talk, because when everybody talks, bigotry and lies can't exist with everyone's perspective, with everyone's truth on the table. When we see that we can succeed and be moral in that way, then we have won. And that's what I want to see. That's the kind of world I want to see. All right, thank you.
They're doing fine. You're the ones who should worry. Tell your friends we're coming for them. Never mind. I'll tell them